What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool themed video. And in this video we will talk about not just what is happening to Liverpool right now, but why is it happening. And Steve McLaren, the former Manchester United player and Manchester United assistant manager, I think hit the nail on its head with an interview recently which he gave to Sky Sports, saying that Liverpool have subconscious complacency just like Manchester United's treble winning side. And I looked up actually what happened with Manchester United after winning the treble in 1999, and the next season a similar thing to happen to Manchester United. What happened with Liverpool right now is that after winning the Champions League, Liverpool is storming to a Premier League title, and Manchester United were also the title race was almost done by the end of February, March period. Man United in the end won the title by 18 points ahead of Arsenal, and it was just the title race was over by March. And the similar thing to happen to Manchester United is that they started training a little bit with a little bit less focus, a little bit less intensity, and that carried over to the games as well. And they didn't do it intentionally. It was a subconscious complacency, as McLaren said. And it happened to Man United as well, that they got beat by Real Madrid quite comfortably, which was very unusual at the time, that they were just up to their usual standards. A similar thing happened to Liverpool this season, and in the past 3 or 4 games, I think that Liverpool just lost the intensity, lost the focus, and this is the reason why. So let's actually listen to what Steve McLaren has to say in detail, and also I will give you my opinion, but I also want to hear your opinion in the comments below. What is the reason, or what are the reasons for Liverpool's incredible loss of form? Because we are so far away from the usual standards that we have set in the first part of this season, and also almost the whole of last season. And yes, we had some games this season previously where we didn't really play well, but somehow we always grinded out a result. But that mentality, or that winning mentality, was lost. And maybe it was the winter break, maybe that's the reason, or maybe it's the subconscious complacency that Liverpool have already won the league and we just lost a little bit of focus and intensity. And that 10-15% drop off at this level is enough for you to lose games quite comfortably. It's actually very, very scary, but that's how good the Premier League is. That Watford and Chelsea, especially Chelsea in the second half, because the first half performance I thought was up to our usual standards, Liverpool standards. The second half was not. It's a very interesting topic and I wanted to cover that in this video. And this is what Steve McLaren said. The problem with Liverpool is that they have won the league already. What concerns me is that in the last 4 games they have conceded 8 goals. To win things, you've got to keep clean sheets and you can't rely on the front three to score all the time. What we had after the treble at Manchester United, and I see it a little bit at Liverpool, is complacency, and it's subconscious. You think you are doing the work, but you are not. We had a season when we had won the title by February, March in 2000, and we wanted to win the Champions League, but subconsciously the intensity wasn't the same. The intensity of the training wasn't the same, and then the intensity of the games wasn't the same, and we were making mistakes through lack of concentration, lack of focus, and tiredness, mental and physical tiredness. I remember we came to play Real Madrid in a really good position. We lost at Old Trafford, and it was an absolute disaster despite winning the league. Liverpool winning the league very early, it might just be affecting them. It certainly has over the last 4 games. And I think that is exactly the reason why Liverpool have suffered such dramatic loss of form. It's not a crisis because it's just 2 or 3 games. I mean, you can lose to Atletico Madrid, you can probably lose to Chelsea. It was the manner of defeats, and especially the performances that lacked real fight, real courage, intensity, enthusiasm. That's what is so uncharacteristic, and that's why many Liverpool fans, including myself, is now more and more worried as each game comes and goes. I'm a little bit more and more worried of what is happening to my beloved club. I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing. But this reminded me of like the January and early February period of, I think it was 2017, where Liverpool, after going really well in the league, it looked like we just lost everything, and we have fallen off a cliff. We had like in that January and the beginning of February period where we were collecting like on average a little bit over than 1 point per game. It was like relegation form for 1 month and a half, and I really hope that won't be the case this time, because if this bad period lasts for a whole month, then we will be out of the Champions League and the title race will be interesting again, which would be absolutely incredible. And I was looking at the fixtures this morning. Manchester City are playing Manchester United away and Arsenal at home, so at least we can hope for Man City dropping points in those games to make it a little bit easier for Liverpool to win the title. But I think that's the main reason why Liverpool's form has suffered so much, is that mentally, to have this incredible winning mentality and this intensity for like almost 2 seasons now, it's absolutely remarkable. You don't forget that Liverpool went to back-to-back Champions League finals. Liverpool achieved 97 points in the Premier League, where we had an almost perfect season. And it was actually the same period, March, where we lost quite a lot of points to teams like West Ham, Leicester City, Everton, Manchester United, and that ultimately cost us the title. Thank goodness that this time Man City are so far behind Liverpool that we shouldn't be worried about these bad results costing Liverpool the title, but it cost us a place in the FA Cup quarterfinals. Yes, Liverpool have to get back to that same intensity, same focus. Jurgen Klopp has to drum into the players that the Atletico Madrid game is the biggest and most important game of the season. If we don't qualify to the Champions League quarterfinals, our season will be like almost dead and buried. For the last 3 months, it could be one of the most boring seasons. I mean, it happened kind of to Manchester City as well in 2017-18, where they got knocked out by Liverpool, interestingly, 5-1 at aggregate in the Champions League, and after that they only had the Premier League to play for, so they had the motivation to break the points record, and they got to 100 points. And I think that could be a decent motivation for Liverpool as well, to break the points record again. I mean, if we keep the same form up until the end of the season, we are about to get 107 points. I don't think we will get that. I think my aim would be just to get 101 points, so we can beat the Guardiola's points record just by 1 or 2 points. That would be brilliant. And also, I think that his season and the perception of the season hinges on that Liverpool Atletico Madrid game. Because if Liverpool go out in the Champions League last 16, I mean, winning the league title for the first time in 30 years is monumental. It's absolutely brilliant. It's what every Liverpool fan was dreaming about. So this season will always be remembered as an amazing season, an awesome season. But I think the talk of this Liverpool team being one of the greatest sides in Premier League history, that would be null and void if we went out of the Champions League early. I think we need to at least get to the Champions League quarterfinals or the semi-finals for this season to be remembered as this really great season. I mean, it will be remembered as a great season because of winning the title, but this Liverpool team is better than not to go to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals of the Champions League. I'm not like that bothered about the League Cup or the FA Cup. I think this Liverpool team is good enough to go far in those competitions, but I think after Jurgen Klopp, in the first 2 or 3 years, he suffered so much because of this fixture congestion that happens in English football when you go far in the League Cup, when you go far in the FA Cup, and when you want to go far in the League and in the Premier League as well, in the Champions League, as well. Jurgen Klopp just realized that you might have to sacrifice the FA Cup and the League Cup for going far in the Champions League. But this season, I felt a little bit different. With the Premier League almost in the bag, I felt Liverpool could concentrate a little bit more on the FA Cup. But it's very clear that Jurgen Klopp doesn't rate that competition for whatever reason. I think it's understandable because the financial benefits are nowhere near as good as going far in the Champions League. Probably the owners want Klopp to focus on the Champions League. But it's a very risky tactic, because if Liverpool keep continuing this inconsistent form and we don't knock out Atletico Madrid, as I said, the season will be a little bit, I mean, the euphoria of winning the Premier League will be tainted a little bit by the disappointment of not even like defending properly our Champions League title. But it's just wishful thinking on my part. Let's see how the Liverpool team develops in the next two games. I think against Bournemouth we need to put in a stellar performance. We need to not just win, but win with class and style and score goals and excite the fans, to build some momentum, to build some confidence. Because if we arrive to the Atletico Madrid game without momentum, without confidence, it will be even more difficult. So let's see what happens. Also, Stephen Warnock, a former Liverpool player as well, said this about Liverpool's current situation. It's going to be a real tough test. Liverpool have not scored in their last two games. They are going to have to try and open up a very stubborn Atletico Madrid defense. And do they have the capability to do that? There's that little bit of doubt with fans at the moment over how tough that game is going to be. And I also want to say that this is the first time under Jurgen Klopp that Liverpool went in consecutive games, 2 games in a row, without scoring one single goal. And I think that speaks volumes how amazing Jurgen Klopp has been at Liverpool, that we always scored in a game after a game where we blanked in attack. But it happened to Manchester United, as I said. Manchester United were walking the league in 2000 after winning the Champions League, the Premier League and the FA Cup the previous season, and they dropped their standards, they lost focus, they got tired mentally, probably more so than physically, and they got easily knocked out by Real Madrid in the Champions League. So I think that it can happen to even the greatest sides in Premier League history, like the Manchester United team. And if Liverpool want to be remembered as one of the great sides of the Premier League, I think we need to pick up form very, very quickly, hopefully quicker than in previous seasons, where our loss of form has lasted between 3 to 6 weeks, and I don't want that to happen to Liverpool. And Jurgen Klopp said this about what went wrong for Liverpool against Chelsea. Momentum went our way for so long this season because we defended outstandingly. Usually don't get a lot of chances against us, but now we have to admit that in the last 4 games we have conceded absolutely too many goals. Completely different situations, so it is not one problem, but we see it as well. I'm not worried about the momentum. Momentum is not something you get as a present. You have to get it to keep it. We have always a chance to get it back. No, I'm not concerned about momentum, but it is football. We never thought it would be an easy season. It would be an easy period, or it would be an easy game against Chelsea. Nothing, it was always clear it would be very difficult. It was always clear, and we did very well, but tonight not good enough in decisive moments, and that's what we have to accept. The performance tonight was completely different than the Watford performance. Against Watford it was really bad. Tonight it was not that bad. Tonight it was a really super intense game. We made 7 changes. We knew it would be intense, and that's why we made the changes, because it was clear there will be a lot of sprints, spaces in midfield. How Chelsea plays, how we want to play, it was clear. You need accelerations constantly, and that offer, they offer that constantly, and that's why we had to make changes, or we thought we have to make them. The performance tonight, I'm not concerned about it. It's football. If you make decisive mistakes, then you lose football games. There are not that many competitions for us anymore. That's probably the last week we have to manage it. When the Atletico game is over, it was then I think 4 games in 12 games, in 12 days, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure how. Now it depends on how far we can go in the Champions League. If we can go through or not, we don't know that yet, but we are used to managing that, and we're used to doing it. Look, Curtis showed so many things tonight where everybody thought, wow, what a player. And yes, then you can lose the ball. That's a learning process. You cannot learn it at home in the living room. You have to learn on the pitch and you have to react on it, and that's how it is. Neco Williams played the super game tonight, Klopp continued. So he showed obviously that we can really have a second fullback coming, which helps us massively for the future. Takumi Minamino played a really good game. He was completely free at the edge when he shot the cross, or more or less, if Neco sees him once or twice, seeing him would have helped, of course. So many good things. Adam Lallana running like crazy. Fabinho, he had to play, and that's how it is. He was the one who had to stay on the pitch and play the game. You see a lot of good things, better rhythm, but then he loses the ball, and even experienced players have to deal with it. That's football. That's how it is. How I said, we always have to deal with this. It's not the first time. And I'm reading between the lines of Jurgen Klopp saying that Liverpool, this is the last time Liverpool have to manage the squad because we went out of the FA Cup. And I think Liverpool probably, if he didn't have to, he wouldn't play the League Cup or the FA Cup at all. He doesn't really value or rate that competition because the owners probably don't value and rate that competition that highly. I mean, it's all about the Premier League and the Champions League for Jurgen Klopp. You might not like it, I might not like it, but you have to accept it that Jurgen Klopp is a winner. He is a twice Bundesliga title winner. He's a Champions League winner. He's the manager of the best football club officially in the world. And you have to respect his decisions. And that's what I will do. I respect Jurgen Klopp's decisions. If ultimately not fielding the strongest sides in the FA Cup results in Liverpool winning Premier League titles and winning Champions Leagues, or getting to Champions League semi-finals and finals in the next 3 or 4 years, then I won't be too bothered with the FA Cup. I just felt, that's my own opinion, that we could maybe go with a little bit of a stronger team, maybe play Mane and Firmino up front instead of Origi and Mane, something like that. But I understand that Jurgen Klopp is fearful of injuries because, for example, look at what happened with James Milner. He played in the Everton game in the FA Cup previously and he got injured for 2 months. He just came back. He had to come on as a substitute against Chelsea, and if James Milner was fit, he would have started this game, I'm sure, ahead of maybe Curtis Jones or Lallana. Liverpool probably wouldn't have conceded as many chances to Chelsea as we have done. So it's going to be very interesting how Jurgen Klopp manages the squad against Bournemouth and against Atletico Madrid. But after the Atletico Madrid game, we have a clear run of Premier League fixtures and hopefully just some. So after the Atletico Madrid game, hopefully Liverpool have a clear run of Premier League fixtures and maybe just some Champions League fixtures sprinkled alongside the Premier Leagues. Hopefully, if we knock out Atletico Madrid. And Jurgen Klopp commented on Liverpool conceding 7 goals in the last 3 matches. The numbers are there, the facts are there, that's all clear. I knew that before. It's much more easier to explain when you win than explain when you lose, obviously. I have not a lot of arguments. I cannot say, no, you are not right or whatever. It's a free world. You can interpret the situation how you want, but I can only I can only speak about what I see. I see them numbers, I know them, and that's not cool. We don't want to concede that many. It's not that we don't want to score again. I don't sit here and think, okay, the way back to the moment where we can score or we don't concede is like 100 miles away. It's little things, but the little things make a big difference. The boys are strong. They showed so many times a wonderful reaction, and now we have to show this reaction again. And that's what I expect against Bournemouth. At Anfield, we have to show a massive reaction. We have to really wipe the floor with Bournemouth and get a big momentum swinging win that builds confidence, that gets the Anfield crowd going, and then bring on Atletico Madrid. That's what I want to see. Those 2 games will shape our season, in my opinion. So let's go for it. Let's hope that Liverpool will deliver, and I'm really excited that I can analyze the games for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you later. Goodbye.